Hello and welcome back to my RC channel. I'm Andy RC and today I'm going to be checking out some motors. These are the EAGLEPOWER 2306 2888 kV. They take from a 2 to 5S battery and they've sent the red colour here. And it's come in a box of 4. And you can see there we've got a clockwise version and counterclockwise. That's just going to be the nuts on the top there. So these have actually been sent to me direct from the distributor. They're called Hobby Porter, but I won't link them because they are just a distributor. You can't buy off them. But these motors will be sent out to places like GearBest and Banggood, so you'll be able to buy them off there. And I believe they're going to be about $13, but don't quote me on that because prices always change. And at the making of this video, I don't think you can buy them, but when you can buy them, I'll put a link in the below to them. Now, Hobby Porter actually are the main distributor for the Jumper transmitter series, and I think they've got a new transmitter coming out called the T8SG, so hopefully I'll get to check that out because I know a lot of you guys loving the Jumper transmitters with the multi-protocol, so that should be coming from them as well. But let's take a look at these motors. So, got a nice magnet in here. And motors are changing and have changed a lot over the last year. They've changed in size. For example, probably, 8 months ago, I was using 2206 motors. These are the Hyperlight ones, which are a branch of Brother Hobby, I guess you would say. And just look at the size difference there. So it does mean that the motors are going up in weight. These are 30 grams and these are 34, so our copters are getting heavier, but we're getting more power from them. And with that as well, we are drawing more amps, so, I found that batteries have kind of become a disposable item these days. You just put full throttle and they go straight down to 13 volts and nobody cares because, we just chuck them away. That seems to be the case these days. Another thing that has kind of changed is the aesthetics of motors as well. I always think that the top of them has become a bit like an alloy wheel. I mean, I guess that's always been the case, but they're sort of getting more intricate and more, detailed. And just look at that on there. It looks like the side of a Ferrari's wheel or something like that. Absolutely crazy. And these motors have another function as well. They've actually got ridges down the side here, and apparently that is for heat dissipation. Don't know whether that is going to be the case, but yeah, I'm going to stick these on a copter and we'll see how they perform. We have got a hollow shaft here, which has kind of become a standard. Looks like we've got some ridges on here to stop your prop from slipping. I find that a really useful thing, especially when we've got so much power now. I found that if you've got a dodgy flight controller that's got twitches on the IMU, it can actually twitch to the point where it makes your prop come loose, which is no good. And then underneath, I really like this. This is really important for me, especially this time of year. We have got a hex screw underneath here rather than a C-clip. It means if you get smashed into a load of mud, you don't have to mess around with a C-clip remover, having it ping across the room. We can just unscrew it. It's one of the benefits of a hollow shaft is that you can stick a thread on the other end and have a screw. It means that you can take the bell off the motor really easily and clear all that mud out, so I really like that. I think they're bringing out a lower kV version of them. I think they quoted 2345, but when these were initially announced they were a different kV, so again, don't quote me on that. But yeah, if you're not into the higher kV motors, because this is a huge motor, a 2306 and then high kV, it's going to be drawing a lot of amps, this. So yeah, let's see what else you get. We've got a quality control thing. I don't know whether it's real or not. So we've got nice long wires and silicon wires, but that should be expected these days, I would say. The base is really nice as well. It's a really nice shape. Yeah, some thought gone into that. So let's take this off. Looks like we've got some screws here, so no real instructions or anything like that, but they are just a set of motors. And it looks like we have got a load of screws in there. They're all the same size by the looks of it. Okay, so let's check out the size of this hex screw. I think it's 1.5 mil, I'm gonna guess, but let's just try it. Yeah, 1.5 mil. And just while I'm here, let's see if I can check out the size of these screws. So looks like they are 7mm. Let's just see there, 7.2mm. And then the size of the head is like 1.2mm. So, you know, if you've got like say a 4mm frame, you might have just enough room to put soft mounts on there as well. But general rule for me is get loads of these different sizes in. They are the 2mm hex, and you know, I get loads of these in because I'll never know whether these days a motor's going to need to be soft mounted or whether it's going to need to be on a 3mm frame or a 4mm frame. But yeah, I'll see if I can use these. But let's get and put these on a copter and see how they perform. Now, one of the things that you don't realise until you become a reviewer is that you end up having to hack up a lot of your favourite models to try out new parts. And I can already hear the violins going, I know. I think this may be a component that I'm going to keep though. This is the Bfight, and I've got the Azure 5045 props on there, and I tell you what, I spun these motors up and they're smooth as anything. So I think they're going to be great. Now, I did have to soft mount the motors on the Bfight because of the F4. These are soft mounted, so I wasn't able to use the original screws. I had to use some longer Emax ones. Got a Tattoo R-Line 4S battery. This is smooth. By the way, with these set of motors, there are clockwise and counterclockwise. It says on the side of the motor, so be careful with that. But just so smooth. Right, let's go for a quick punch. I heard a little beep of the buzzer there, so confirms to me that it's pushing some amps, which I expected, to be fair. Whoa. Yeah. That's a bit nuts. I can tell these are great already. So smooth. No vibrations whatsoever. And a good price. Hopefully there'll be a good price when it comes out. Oh, it's windy here today. Oh yes, I'm a big fan of these. So quiet as well. Right, let's come in for a landing and see what they're like doing FPV. Well, that was an exciting end to the flight, wasn't it? I decided to put a GoPro on the Bfight and give you a full flight without me talking over the top of it, so you can listen to the motors and see if you can hear any twitching or grinding. I couldn't hear anything. In fact, these are the smoothest motors that I've seen so far, and I can tell in the flight, you know, this is an RTF model, the Bfight, it's a very good model, but these motors have improved it so much. See, I had to put soft mounts on this copter because it was getting some vibrations through to the flight controller. I dare say that if I remove the soft mounts with these motors, that I wouldn't have a problem, because they're just so smooth, there's no vibrations whatsoever, and I'm really impressed with them. That being said, if you look at the on-screen display and check out the voltage, there's a huge amount of voltage sag. That's down to the fact that my R-line batteries are getting quite old. However, they are heavy on amps, but that just seems to be the way that motors are going these days, and it's more of the case that our batteries are disposable, you know. So, yeah, it's going to be heavy on your batteries for sure, but I really like them. I'm going to be keeping them on this copter. Now, there is a downside of that pretty pattern on the top. So, as you can see, this picture that we're looking at here, this is the result of the crash. And just check out all of that mud that's caked in there. It's going to be really challenging to remove that. So, I'm going to be removing the hex screw underneath and taking the bell off, and I'll get an air pressure on there and try and clean some of that away. Why did the crash happen? It was my fault. I let the battery get too low. If you look back, the voltage sagged down to about 11 volts, and then the ESC reset and it did a flip of death. And yeah, the frame didn't break though. This Bfight copter, it's absolutely fantastic. I've had it a while. It's taken an absolute beating, and I was really reluctant to switch the motors out because I like it as a copter, but I'm glad that I did. I think the all-up weight came to 304 grams, so it's making it a little bit heavier. And with a GoPro, I think it was 398 grams without a battery, so still a lightweight model. But yeah, really gutted that I broke these Azure props because I've only got one pair of them, so I'm going to have to buy another set of those. But yeah, in general, I really like these motors, and I'll link them in the below. And as always, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.